Alrighty, Internet, I think I've got one more video in me. Let's see if we can get some things done. So where's my little notes? I took some notes on stuff we have to do. This I'll do on my own. No one wants to watch me do this. Fuel. This we're gonna do, and I think this we're gonna do, and maybe, let's get the tutorial to a playable state. I think that's something I kind of talked about before with the eye, right? Like that. Just get something playable that we can improve upon, because worst case scenario, we release something that isn't super great, but at least we can release, right? I'm totally happy to just improve things after the fact. So I think that means this still needs to be done, and then letting you leave the planet, which we can add a to-do for if we like. Let us leave the planet. And then this we can do later, but this is our minimum viable product, if you like. So let's make that happen. No, we don't need to look at the changelog, although I changed a little thing off camera. Just this bit, again, to along the lines of increasing clarity as to what's going on, especially for new players, and even for experienced players, just because... so what used to happen is only when you had a new ship part would your inventory be automatically opened. But there's a lot of other reasons you might open your inventory, just to sort through all the alien artifacts and dump any that you don't need, use maybe a blueprint, use your upgrade points, all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of possible things that a player is going to be learning about, right? Now the other problem that you might consider actually as being a thing here would be fix the horrible camera nonsense. I will, as I said before, fix that kind of on my own time. Look at I don't know how big of an issue it is and how interesting of an issue it is. If it's just one little line, then I'll find it and I can go, hey guys, look, I found this one little line. So whatever. Let's make it so that you can get the fuel and leave. So when you start on the tutorial, again, we need to remove one of your fuel, basically. So the game already starts you with max. So let's find the game state. I was looking at some of this stuff. That's not what we need. Tutorial. So when you enter the state, we will do, I don't know, sector map, sector, fuel, yes, remove at. That'll work. We'll remove the first fuel. Remove one fuel, so the player has to get a fuel to leave. Excellent. I'm also kind of wondering, it might be nice to train you to fight things, but I don't know if the only way I can think to do that and still force you to leave is to have you blow up something which contains fuel in it, and it should be shooting back at you. But the little enemies, it would be weird to train you that those drop fuel, because in most cases they don't. But maybe we could reuse that old intro boss station thing, have it floating up there, have it appear only after you've collected the first fuel, just to be like, haha, give the player time to fly around, get the fuel, that's all good, and then have the boss appear. But again, that's kind of like bonus, so I'm not going to do that right now. Let's just do this part. So let's check this out. Let's just make sure this works the way I intend, because it's possible that it's like adding the fuel after the fact or something, although I don't think that's going to be the case. Alright, we have this whole thing. I might even be able... Okay, so I've got to... Let's do some flight exercises. So what was that? Did you see that nonsense? It looked like over here that it was acknowledging that maybe I needed one, but now... Oh, do I... Okay, so that's fine, but do I have debugging mode on? Yeah, let's go into release... Debug mode, because I want to not have the user-friendly crash reporter, but travel for free. That's false. That's interesting. So why didn't it show all of the things? Am I crazy? Let me just try this in release mode just in case. The problem with compiling in release mode is that I have that disabled, the crash reporter, because again, for my testing, I don't want the friendly crash reporter. I want to have it go into code where possibly I can fix things and just keep running. Yeah, see, so right now it's showing that extra fuel, but then when I say I feel fine, it like goes away. It's only part of the dialogue. It's possible that draw UI. That's level summary. Yeah, something strange is happening. So let's figure that out first. There is, so I think there's a method called draw UI that's responsible for drawing all that stuff. There's also, well, yeah, let's find that first. So where is that? Draw player, draw UI. This will absolutely draw the fuel. Draw UI fuel. Free required, sector, current system, fuel cost required to travel. Sector, fuel cost required to travel, blah, blah, blah. Aha, so yeah, so this is something we did, right? We said if you were in this tutorial state, then, you know, we were cheating. I think that's something I added a while ago. I think that was on camera, possibly in one of the horrible long videos. Anyway, we don't want that anymore. I'm glad, because that was sort of, you know, again, we were using reflection, asking for an object's type, and I feel like that's usually not a great way to do things, so happy to have removed that instance. It's interesting that, yeah, see, this looks more right. It's interesting that in dialogue, because that's a different game state. Yeah, okay, now everything is making sense to me. So the reason it was showing up during dialogue is because you switch into the state of game state dialogue or whatever. There's a separate, yeah, I'm using a sort of a state machine kind of thing to keep track of what state you're in. Yeah, we still have this horrible camera issue, right, where the fuel just like goes away, but we are, you know, requiring fuel. Something else I've wanted to do, and I'll have to do this another time, is when you collect fuel here, I would love... So this is kind of interesting. No, that's fine. We'll need to change this text. So this text is intended, again, not for tutorial, but when you're in the actual planet. I don't want to, like, cheat and put coins on the level. Like, it's not going to make sense for her to say this on a super small planet. You've explored the whole thing. You know, you could have like found all the loot first. Also, the whole enemy thing isn't going on. Although we could maybe change a little of this to, yeah, maybe not mention the supplies thing. I might want to reword this and include the thing about enemies increasing, and then we can have the enemy appear, right, to train you on your first enemy. So that's pretty interesting. Let me keep note of this. To do, yeah, I mean, that's okay. I mean, all of this is minimum viable product, really. So, but let's get rid of that note. We also want to change. Also, that's done. Change got 3 fuel dialogue, and that is not part of the normal tutorial dialogue. Again, there's a bunch of I don't know what you would call this, but you know, as you're playing and as you encounter certain things, you get kind of a brief tutorial on that new thing you've encountered. So like the first time there's a planet with lava, she goes, "Whoa!" Or it's supposed to be genderless. But Bleer, let's use the name of the character. Bleer pops up and says, you know, oh, there's lava, your shields aren't going to hold, but you can go in it, but it's going to be a little more dangerous, you know. And then I forget what else. Well, in this case as well, right? So when you get 3 fuel, Bleer pops up and says, whoa, you have the 3 fuel, and tries to kind of tell you about the mechanics of the game here. Like, you should run around and get extra stuff. I mean, that's kind of staple for roguelikes, right? But also, here's a reason why maybe that would be risky. And for other roguelikes, they have a hunger clock often cases. Anyway, we need to change that to let us leave. See, a lot of roguelikes will have a hunger clock, and this can take a lot of different forms. It's called hunger clock because of the first roguelike, where there was an actual hunger and you could starve to death, and so you had to keep going floor to floor, because if you didn't eat, you never spawned new food, so you had to keep going new floors to get new food. If you wasted a bunch of time, then you would run out, which is kind of really mean. So that's like an interesting thing. Like, here's another example. Prince of Persia has, I think, a 60-minute time limit, and that's at least more clear. Like, you don't have to teach anyone about, oh, you're gonna have to like look around for fuel, blah blah blah. I mean, that's telling you don't dick around. Like, you have to go fast, right? You only got 60 minutes. But that's still kind of mean because you don't know how long the game is. You know, like when the 30-minute mark hits, maybe you're already screwed and you just don't even know it or something. You know. Modern games have done a little better, and I think one of the best I've seen that's also kind of related, because it's space-themed, if I could remember the name. This is embarrassing. Why can I not remember the name? Steam will tell us. Steam, tell me the name of the game I'm thinking of. Faster Than Light. It's called Faster Than Light. Good, I remembered it. I didn't have to look. Faster Than Light, right? It has a fantastic sort of hunger clock. You have the rebel ships kind of closing in on the sector, and so you can clearly see the line. You know when the danger is, and you can kind of predict, okay, I think I have enough time to go to that, that extra system, take a little more time here to get this thing. Right? You can make those calls, whereas you cannot make calls like that with something like Prince of Persia or the original roguelike, because you have there's no way for you to tell if that's a risk you can take. It's too large of a scale. So anyway, Mysterious Space has kind of a sneaky-ish thing too, where I feel like it's fair as well. This is maybe another valid approach, where again, just the dangers kind of gradually increase. And especially since I've told the player, I feel like it's fair, although I feel like the player should not have to read any text and still be able to play. But I think you'll notice the threats are increasing the longer you stay, and certainly after you've got a bunch of loot, when there's a lot of enemies swarming on the screen and you're thinking, well, is it worth, right? I think you can still make that sort of decision, is what I'm saying. You still can make that tactical sort of decision about what you're going to do with your time. So anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent, a little bit of game design. Maybe that's more interesting. If I could think of more things like that to talk about, I would, off the top of my head, but they only seem to come to me when there's some sort of context. I think that's a common brain thing. There's a psychology thing for that. But anyway, let's move on. So we need to let the player leave. I'm pretty sure the game state in level thing, this is when you're playing normal levels, this handles that. So we're going to copy paste some logic out. Feels a little gross. I'll see if I can do any refactoring so we don't have to copy paste so much. So end of level sequence, that's a little different. If any players are dead. Liquid count, right? This is some of that tutorial stuff like, whoa, is there lava? If so, we'll give some information about lava. But we want players are trying to leave. If players are trying to leave, then leave the planet. Excellent. That's exactly what we're going to do. So player game tutorial, that was in the update, right? Yeah, I don't feel bad copying like an if and a whatever. That's fine. So if level, players are trying to leave, and that would be dwarf planet, then leave the planet. Oh, that's interesting. That's a function. Game state in level. Sector fuel. And we're not doing a game over sequence, and we're not doing an end of level sequence. An end of level sequence. So this is left over a long, long time ago when you beat a level. Text came on the screen. I'm trying to move my hands again on them, but you can't see. Or like it came in and said like level complete, and the word level came in from one side of the screen, complete came in on the other, and they met in the center and then continued on their way past each other, right? It was like, ooh, isn't that a fun little animation? And that's what this end of level sequence thing was keeping track of. And so there used to be, okay, once you left, okay, now we're going to delay, show that you beat the level, and then I decide, no, we need to get rid of that. We're like wasting your time showing you that you can, like, I know I complete the level, stop wasting my time. Or I know I completed the level. So that's why we have like this whole end of level sequence and game over sequence, yeah, sure. But I kind of think that I don't think we need a lot of this. Like, yeah, not game over, but I think we already take care of that where we call this. If we're doing a game over sequence, blah 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 blah, else do this thing. So I think we can get rid of this, and we don't need to care about the fact that we're doing end of level sequence, because again, that's whatever. And then this thing is used somewhere to get us out of here. Level, leave planet. Yeah, see, again, I don't know that... Leave the planet, current game, leave the planet. Yeah, I don't think game over... Yeah, I don't... This is nonsense. We don't need to, like, deal with any of that stuff. We can just do that when they ask to leave the planet. Leave the planet, leave the planet. And then this, and so now we can see this all has to do with the level itself and the sector information, which the level is a part of, so we don't actually need this in game state. I think what we want this on is the planet itself, or the level itself rather. So if we go to a level, we can do that here. So we will have, and we'll call it leave the level, leave level this, current game. Ooh, interesting. Do we have, we don't seem to have access to current game. Oh, I think that's just game, or the game instance or something, right? No, where is current game? I don't actually know what that refers to. I thought I knew, but I don't know. Game state sector map. The sector map needs to know. I don't think this has access to that. Although it kind of should, right? So apparently we need to call and tell the sector map that they're leaving the planet. I don't remember why. Maybe we should check that out. Leave planet. Here's the level, and we pass in the level. Game state summary. Yeah, just switching states. A lot of this stuff doesn't need to be, right? Like, this again, we need to know the sector map state to go to. But I don't think, I think we can simplify a lot of things. We've got code kind of scattered all over the place. So what's leave the planet do? Stop all sounds. But maybe other things. Okay, so that's fair. So that's a bit of a little magic that might be overridden by other types of planets where they need to do some other little cleanup besides just stopping the sounds. So I think that includes, sorry, I'm like clicking on madness. Oh, I don't actually do it. Okay, I think there was probably used to be stuff for weather, like when you had the sandstorms going across, so I'm not sure how I get rid of that anymore, but anyway, leave the planet. Yeah, we need to pass the sector map again, and then we need to pass the sector map. Current state. Huh. The game instance current state. Yeah. The game instance. And if enemies killed, then you get the pacifist achievement. And the only other thing we need then is we need the sector map. So maybe we can do that here. Game state sector map. Sector map. Let's pass it in. It's possible there's another way to get to this. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to do it here. So all the logic surrounding leaving the planet. All right, leave the level. Oh, it would be dwarf planet. Leave the level, and we need to pass the sector map. Sector map state. Yes, thank you. All right, good. I knew it was available somewhere. I didn't actually know. I was just hoping. Leave the planet. Leave the level. That's what I meant. Level, leave the level, pass in the game state or something. Right? It was called something. It did have it. Current game, which is a game state sector map. All right. Players are trying to leave, then let them leave. Okay, so now we have the same thing on the tutorial. We've definitely done a little bit of refactoring that's a little bananas. We're going to want to test this. Stop background music. See, that's curious to me. It seems like stopping all sounds, which is also virtual. That's interesting, right? This is like a weird kind of, I don't know. There's something going on here that I'm sure had a purpose at one time, and as things have changed, you end up with these like weird trails of code that maybe you don't need, much like the one we just fixed. So that's good that we have less of that. Sorry, I realize I'm kind of jumping around in code right now. But I think this is good. So this will let us leave. The other thing we need then is the little blinky up arrow when you're on a planet. So that's also going to be here. We don't, well, we do on a mini-map, but let's worry about that later. I think what we want is the blink for you can leave, or maybe I'll just have her tell you that and I don't need the whole blinking business. Draw mini map. Where is that? Like arrow or something. I thought it would be in here. Down? Oh, maybe not. Well, let's see if we can leave the level rather than boring you with me searching through code. Also, I felt like there was something else I noticed when I was rewatching a video that I should have done. Did I take notes? I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't remember, so Beb, that is not my name. Do the funny introduction that I've seen a lot of recently. Alright, sounds great. Can't leave. Fantastic. Let's go and get some fuel. Excellent, we now have the fuel we need. Let's get out of here. Wait, did I see the little blinky? Oh, no, I thought I saw the blinky up arrow. Can we leave? Yes, but we can also crash. Let's pause the game and see where we're at. Accessory, generate random. What? Why are you generating random accessories? Oh, for one of the for the planets. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me. I was looking over this trying to think. So every time you leave a planet, the game updates the civilization's items, and that's in sector leave planet. Apparently called refresh. So let's do something about that. Like we don't need to if the planet was leave. Let's not necessarily leave planet. Well, it is meant only for actually leaving a planet versus like folded space. We'll just do bool refresh civilization inventory. We'll set it to true by default. And we should just, when we know what kind of level we're dealing with, we'll pass in false as appropriate. So level, right. Level is large planet. That's what we called it, if this is a large planet. Okay, which is a little bizarre. So let me show you. I kind of mentioned this briefly before, but I changed the way that the planets are stored in the game. So the tutorial world is kind of a small planet where there's enough different things from ice worlds and things that I didn't want it to inherit, like adding liquids and puzzle fuels and doing all these other things, fire sticks, fauna. No, we need none of that. Not for this tutorial. Adding fauna would be fair enough, but it's a nice world. I've apparently decided we could change that. But anyway, all those sorts of things we absolutely don't want to have happen on a dwarf planet, and it's possible there's other things that would move out too. I'm calling it a dwarf planet, but whatever. So on the tutorial world, right? So I didn't want tutorial world to inherit from the same class as all the normal types of planets since they have other logic. So I kind of broke it out where now we have a large planet, and that's another step between planet and then the rest of the worlds that you would actually play on, right? So, and that's useful because now again we have that distinction. Although again, so when you look at things like, here's possibly the preferred way to do that. Where did I make that change? Is that in sector? Yes, right here. Why not ask? This is why I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have reflection, because what if we want other planet types to have different behaviors? Going in here and adding like some weird OR list, blah blah blah, wouldn't it instead make sense to say, ask this object, the level, you know, refresh civ inventory upon leaving as a bool, something like that? That's kind of a bananas name. It's a bit long. And then we can override that, right, using virtual, and then we don't have to use A, we don't have to use reflection, and B, why wouldn't you want to use reflection? Because it makes you write in checks that maybe aren't super great. Like, we have to remember that there's this funny logic here for large planets. I don't know. You know, because I say that feels a little magical, like who's going to know that that's lying around, but who's going to... Who? Again, thinking of me. Well, and yeah, I should think of me in the future as a different person from the me now, because I will have forgotten many things I know now, right, about the code base, as we've already, witnessed. So, yeah, I absolutely should be coding this pretending as if someone else is going to work on it, because someone else is, me of the future. But I just don't know if it's any less magical, honestly, to have this little virtual method where this is all it does, Or maybe leave the level should be abstract and we require it to be overwritten. So large planets do their version and tutorial world does its own version. That's another route we could go. Because like this logic here, right, we don't need that for the tutorial world. In fact, it's a little... Right, but that's abstract, so... yeah, we'll just do it that way, and let's see if that fixes this Civ inventory refreshing bug. I think the problem is the sector map isn't even generated? Is that true? Or no, it was looking based on the difficulty level of the planet we were just on, and it's -1 for the tutorial world, so it's having trouble generating inventory. Yep, we can now leave. Again, we're going to have to change all that stuff. And we've left. Yay! Oh, we get points! That's kind of funny. Sounds like a... Oh. Okay, you're right, and she's some other stuff. Okay, so that basically worked. Now we're playing the game proper, right? I have 1,000 extra points, which is not what I intended. But you know what? Points are a silly thing in this game. I'm not going to let that stop me. Like, it's more important to teach you the game than it is to care about points. The points are ridiculous in this game. They almost mean nothing. They don't exactly mean nothing, but they do almost mean nothing. I really need a better way. So yeah, if you want to do the problem is, here's the problem. If I leave this in like that, and there are people who care about score, those people are forced, and I'm putting that in air quotes, but I mean, no, they kind of really are. They're forced to reset the tutorial settings just so they can get that extra 1,000 points every time they play the game. Because they're going for a score. On the other hand, I feel like if you're going for a score, there are more efficient ways to do it. Like, but still, it's a free 1,000 points. It doesn't matter what the advantage is. It's free. There's no risk. You would be a fool not to get it, right? I'm going to have to do something about that. We will think about that another time. The point is we have our minimum viable... All right, look, the game still works. We should really show the mini-map on the... Yay, I've been instructed how to get things. But we should really show the mini-map on the tutorial world. Can't think. Also, is there... there's no clouds here. Let me find a planet with clouds. I have to play for real? Okay. Hey, you want to see me play Mysterious Space? Let's go. I want to find a planet with clouds and see if it has that same weird error where the camera's doing weird things and not catching the clouds. Like, good. Get us out of here. Because that's still freaking me out. Like, is that just a bug that's existed always and somehow I've failed to notice? I just don't know. Good. These have clouds. We've found a mini-boss. Okay, there's a cloud. There's a cloud. I'm watching to see if any clouds disappear. But see, what if they were disappearing somewhere in this range? There just aren't many clouds on this type of world. But I should also flicker in and out of existence, right? That was another symptom. I don't think it happens here. And I don't know if that's a property of the class, like the game state in level, you know? Is it part of that? Or, oh, gosh, it's the eye. Get away from the eye. I don't want to deal with you. Anyway, so I don't know if it's a function of that and not function as, you know, programming function, but let's say behavior. Is that something that is handled better in the game state? I can't talk and play at the same time. The game state tutorial maybe isn't doing the same logic as game state in level to fix that camera issue. That's a possibility. Or it's possible that all those things are fine, and the real problem is the super narrow width of the level, and that's somehow messing things up. So it's hard for me to say. Again, I just need to look into that, but it is interesting to know that it doesn't seem to be happening on other levels, so I didn't introduce a bug. Also, I left a planet and we saw that all my weird refactoring of leaving the level has worked, which is good because it's bizarre that was spread across 3 different places. I'm sure it seemed like a good idea to me in the past, but for who knows what reasons. Maybe I wasn't thinking, or maybe, again, it used to be. I mean, that's the thing that happens too, right, is that there used to be good reason, but then those good reasons were kind of stripped away over time out of the code, you know, like maybe it was overridden, you know, maybe that virtual method was overwritten in some descendant class, but now it no longer is, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we did a little cleanup regardless. Fantastic. I don't know how long this video went. I forgot to pay attention, but as always, thank you for watching. I'm really happy to see that the tutorial is finally at a pretty good state. Like, we've done all the hard work, I feel like, right? At least in terms of just getting the physics of the game, I guess I would say, to work. We still need to like fix up some dialogue, probably add some more like little triggers in there for the dialogue. You know, have her tell you how to move. Again, maybe make it an enemy appear or whatever. But like the whole thing of just like, I feel like getting the whole level generated and in a proper way where you can see the fuel, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. That felt to me like it was going to be the harder thing, and it sure has proven to be. So, and that could be a psychology thing going on too, or after the fact, retrospect. Who knows? Anyway, I'm rambling again. Thank you very much for watching. I will continue to do these videos. This isn't the last video. Like, we've done the big part, I feel, and in some ways I could say, I'll stop here. You've seen the bulk of it. But no, I'll do videos for the rest of this, fleshing out all the little details. So if you're interested, then fantastic. I will see you in another video, kind of. It still feels so weird to see. But if not, I don't blame you, right? Coding is kind of a funny thing to watch. So anyway, thank you again, and goodbye.